Croeso and welcome back to Welsh Miniature Board Gamer. And today we're going to have a little look at the Supernatural Join the Hunt Pack 2 for Zombicide 2nd edition. So this is sort of their Simon collaboration with the series Supernatural, and you saw me opening up a pack in previous months of I believe it was Sam and Dean, the Alpha Vampire, and of Wendigo. Now, I love the cover art on this, really nice art, you know, really shows you the people. Maybe the people don't look quite like the characters it actually are in the series, but they're really nice artwork anyway. So on the back it shows you what exactly we have in the pack. It gives you little details about, you know, we got John Winchester, we got Bobby Singer, we got Jack Klein, and we have the Leviathan. So these strange people whose heads sort of popped open and they could eat people whole, etc. Rather freaky looking creatures. So this, like I said, is for Zombicide 2nd edition. So that's a quick look at what's on the back and at the box. Let's try and get this thing open so you can see what's inside. It's a nice sturdy constructed box, you know, it's not a cheapy box, it's not going to fall apart. Nice tough corners, etc. So as you can see, it comes with a plastic case surrounding the cards and the miniatures, keeping them safe in transit. You got a copy of the art going around the corners, showing you the people in the box. So, try and get the cards out, which is very tricky. This is where I use something thinner than my big chunky fingers to try and wedge the cards out. Hey, well done. So yeah, it's in one of these cling film packs, so we have to try and fight our way into this. I use my old man hands to try and open it. Really wish they didn't put these cling film things around them, but they do, so you know, we have to live with it. So John Winchester, yeah, the card is, you know, it goes through all of his skills, etc. Like all adults in Zombicide 2nd edition, he has 3 hits. And on the back it tells you about the skills that he has. So he's a born leader and charge, etc. Then you got Jack Klein. So this was Lucifer's son. Yeah, so he's got the same 3 hits. He can search more than once, which is a nice little thing just off the bat. So that's nice. Again, just goes through on the back all of his talents and what they mean, the key words. Bobby Singer. So Bobby here is a sniper, so yeah, useful skill at blue, and he's got 3 hits, so yeah, that's going to be good. Flipping him over again just shows you about, you know, what each of his keywords mean. So we're going to try and, so as best we can when we do paint these miniatures up, we do want to try and stick with the colours of the artwork because it makes it easier to recognise who is who. So, opening up the cards that we get with the pack. So, this is just giving you a basic thing of the rules. You get Ruby's knife, which is, of course, the demon slaying knife that they have most of the seasons to run around with, killing the demons. We have an angel blade, which, of course, is carried mostly by Castiel, but, yeah, the same sort of thing. You can quickly see the specs for that there. I won't go into too much detail on this thing because I don't think many of you are that interested in that. Then we have the stat card for the Leviathan. So this is going to take the place of the Abomination. So yeah, he's got his stats, what he can do, etc. And just the basic rundown of the rules of the Leviathan. Yeah, he's quite tough. Yeah, I wouldn't have said he's going to be the toughest of all the abominations, but he is fairly tough, and so you can mix that in with your abomination deck if you want to, or you can play them as, you know, only the supernatural stuff, whatever, you know. So trying to get into the plastic now, they've sellotaped it down on all 4 corners, which, yeah, I don't see the need for that. I think they could have just put the clamshell over the top and had done with it, but here I am struggling away my old arthritic hands trying to find how to open it. Hey, and we managed to open it and send the miniatures flying. Brilliant. So, obviously, we have the Leviathan here. He's in a grey plastic, so, you know, if you didn't want to paint them, I suppose you wouldn't have to. You could just use the coloured rims for the characters to differentiate them. So, yeah, there are some joins, some gaps where they've put the arms onto the body. There is a slight gap in, you know, where they've glued it, etc. But it's not bad. It does look kind of cartoony. That face and the way the tongue is coming out of his mouth, it looks almost like someone's jammed a piece of wood into his gob. But yeah, we'll see what he looks like once we painted him up. So this is Jack. I do like the way Jack is in his sort of I am doing my magic powers stance. Just wandered off camera. Sort of, you know, open-handed, you know, sort of almost Starfire-ish if you watch that program. But yeah, he's pretty cool. I like the stance. I like the way his jacket is. The face looks pretty good. There is a bit of a seam line going down his leg. But yeah, it's not too bad. It's quite clean. It's what you'd expect from Simon, to be honest. Again, the arms look like they've been glued onto the body after the fact type thing. They're not molded in, which, you know, does give a slight seam line and a slight gap. Now, John Winchester here looks like he is a completely all-in-one mold, so he has no sort of bumps or gaps where they've glued the arms on, etc. He's all in one piece, and yeah, it really shows. I like the stance. I do love the way he's standing with his chest out, arms back, very heroic style. I'm not sure if it looks like the actor who plays yeah, John, but yeah, he's a nice miniature. I like the pose. Over to Bobby. Now, Bobby, yeah, really nice pose. Like, there's lots of different textures on him. So his jacket, his bag, his hat, his beard, you know, quite different textures. And they look he looks kind of clean, actually. Doesn't look like there's much that I'm going to have to tidy up on him. So it's going to be interesting to paint. So speaking of interesting to paint, let's get down to the painting table and see what they look like once they're painted up. So this is the first miniature from that pack and painted up. So this is the Leviathan. I'm quite happy with how he turned out. He looks pretty good. I suppose I could have painted his belt a different colour so it showed up a bit more and the buckle. But really, I was kind of happy with how he turned out, and I didn't want to play around with him too much. He's got a rather dopey look about his face. He looks a little bit more like a frog or something, with his tongue sticking out like so. Or it looks like someone's jammed a raw cocktail wiener into his mouth or something. It looks rather strange. I don't know why they chose to put a tongue in the mouth. I think it would have worked just as fine without that tongue sticking out, and maybe the miniature would have looked a little bit less goofy that way, because yeah, that certainly looks like he's doing his xenomorph or xenomorph impression with his tongue coming out like that. But there you go, he's that's him done, and I'm quite happy with how he turned out. So next we have John Winchester. Try and get him focused. Now, I tried to do a stubble on him and it didn't really work all that well. But it's not bad. I kind of like the paint job. I like the miniature, actually. I think the miniature is really kind of cool. Yeah, he's got a very heroic pose about him. You know, his chest is thrusting outwards, etc. And he does look like, you know, like he's about to fight some baddies. I can't say he actually looks much like the actor who portrayed John Winchester very much. The miniature really isn't, I don't think, really aiming to portray him very well. But, you know, he looks like a fatherly, heroic figure, so, you know, I quite enjoyed painting him, and I think he turned out okay, with the exception of the stubble, which, yeah, didn't really work on him, but I didn't really have the heart to go back and try and fix that out. You know me, once I'm done with a miniature, I'm done. Then we have Jack Klein, I think his name was. So he is, of course, the son of Lucifer in it, and yeah, I think he's actually looks a bit like the lad who plays him. So yeah, quite pleased with the sculpt on this guy, and I think the paint job really does sort of suit him, and I'm quite happy with him. Now, he did in the film, or the series, he did have this jacket on, or shirt, and it did have an awful intricate pattern sort of going across the top half. I was umming and ahhing whether I wanted to try and recreate that pattern, but really that sort of Native American sort of, I don't know what to call it, sort of pattern was a bit beyond what I was aiming for these miniatures, to be honest. I think it would have been quite a bit of work, and I don't think it would have looked particularly good at the end. So I decided to keep the jacket sort of this plain, same sort of colour as it's meant to be, but you know, it's hasn't got that intricate Native American patterning which his jacket had in the series. But yeah, quite happy with him. And the final one in this box is good old Bobby, my wife's favourite character in Supernatural. So yeah, I should have really had a checked shirt, I think. I should have really done that, but the idea of doing check work again seemed like a lot of work, which could have turned out really bad. So I decided not to go with a check pattern and to just, you know, give him a blue shirt. I do like sort of the paunch. I like the way that I've highlighted his belly, and it does actually work quite well, and the raised textures of his puffer jacket, or his gilet, if you want to be posh about it. So yeah, really like the sculpt. I like the way that they had a lot of texture on the bag and on the puffer jacket and his hat. Bobby's hat, he was almost always wearing a hat of some sort, and I thought, you know, this sort of looked a bit like the one that he wore in the series. Of course, all the characters, or most of the characters in that series, wore jeans, so he's got those jeans on and brown faded boots. And I'm really quite pleased with these. I think they are a decent kit. I think Bobby actually does look a little bit like Bobby, although he is jacked. If you look at the size of his arms, he has got big old arms, maybe slightly more than the actor did have, but I think these did look a little bit more like the actual people than maybe the pack 1, where Sam and Dean really didn't look much like Sam and Dean. So all in all, yeah, I'm really pleased with this kit. I think they're going to be fun to play when we do play Zombicide Supernatural Edition, which is going to be fun. So if you've liked this video, please leave a like. If you want to leave a comment below, leave a comment, and I do reply to every single comment. If you want to see more from me, subscribe to the channel. But until next time, it's been Welsh Miniature Board Gamer. Goodbye.